Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. It helps this message reach more people and keeps this movement growing. Financial freedom is not a number. It's not in your bank account, your job, or your investments. It's in your mind. You see, true mastery over money begins the moment you stop chasing wealth and start commanding energy. This audiobook isn't about making millions. It's about mastering the flow of your decisions, your discipline, your desires. Because when you master your mind, your money follows. Welcome to the Mindset of Financial Mastery, where true freedom begins. Chapter 1. Stop chasing money. Start mastering energy. You've been taught to chase money, to run after it, to work harder, faster, longer, as if effort alone guarantees wealth. But here's the truth most people never hear. Money doesn't chase you because you're working hard. It chases you because you've mastered energy. Money is energy. It's movement. It's reflection. It simply mirrors the way you show up in your life. If you move with chaos, your finances will mirror that chaos. If you move with clarity, discipline, and control, your bank account will respond the same way. You've been taught to fix your income, but you were never taught to fix your energy. That's the real problem, because if your inner world is scattered, no strategy will save you. Every dollar you earn is just the external proof of how you manage your internal power. Think about it. The calm investor, the focused creator, the strategic entrepreneur, they aren't lucky. They've learned to channel their mental, emotional, and spiritual energy with precision. They move differently. They decide differently. They hold themselves differently. You want to increase your income? Start by increasing your intention. Start by mastering your energy. Because money doesn't respond to effort, it responds to alignment. And when you are aligned, opportunities chase you. People trust you. Doors open without force. That's not magic. That's mastery. The first mistake most people make is believing that money comes from out there, from jobs, from clients, from luck. It doesn't. Money starts inside you. It's a reflection of your energy toward work, value, and purpose. Let's make this clear. If you're desperate, your energy repels wealth. If you're grounded, focused, and grateful, your energy attracts it. Every thought about money carries a vibration. Fear pushes it away, mastery pulls it closer. You don't have a money problem. You have an energy problem. And that's something you can fix, and starting now. Here's the shift. Stop asking, how do I make more money? Start asking, how can I expand my capacity to handle, manage, and multiply energy? When you chase money, you create anxiety. When you master energy, you create magnetism. And that's the difference between survival and abundance. The hustler is always tired. The master is always centered. The hustler reacts. The master creates. The hustler spends energy to earn money. The master uses energy to attract it. That's the difference. That's the key. So what does it look like to master your energy? It starts with awareness. Notice what drains you. Notice what strengthens you. Every conversation, every thought, every environment either expands or depletes your power. If scrolling social media for an hour leaves you empty, that's energy theft. If planning your goals leaves you sharp and excited, that's energy mastery. You have to treat your focus like currency, because it is. Every time you spend attention on something that doesn't serve your growth, you're making a withdrawal from your future. Every time you redirect that focus toward creation, learning, or discipline, you're making a deposit. That's how energy becomes wealth. Now, let's go deeper. Most people say they want to be rich. But what they really want is freedom. The freedom to control their time, their choices, their peace. And here's the paradox. You'll never experience freedom by chasing money. You only get freedom by mastering yourself. When you master your energy, you become less reactive to life and more intentional with it. You stop comparing. You stop forcing. You stop needing validation. You move from desperation to direction, and in that shift, your financial world starts to rise. Because wealth follows mastery. It always does. It always will. Remember this line. Say it until it burns into your mind. Money flows where mastery grows. Say it again. Money flows where mastery grows. If you grow your mastery, money will follow your motion. It's not the other way around, so stop chasing. Stop running after quick wins, shiny objects, or overnight success. Start building mastery brick by brick. One decision at a time. Wake up earlier. Control your focus. Learn a skill until you could teach it in your sleep. Build systems instead of excuses, because that's what mastery looks like in real life. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's consistent. It's invisible until the results make noise, and that's when the world calls you lucky. But you'll know the truth. You weren't lucky. You were disciplined. Here's the part most people don't want to hear. Chasing money is emotional laziness. It's avoiding the real work. The work of mastering your thoughts, your habits, your reactions. The outer chase feels productive. The inner work feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is where wealth begins. You have a choice. You can chase distraction, or you can cultivate discipline. You can react to everything around you, or you can rise above it. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need the economy to be perfect. You just need mastery over your mind, your time, your energy, because once you control that, money becomes the easiest part. So from this moment on, stop measuring your life in dollars. Measure it in direction. Measure it in mastery. Ask yourself every day, is my energy aligned with the person I want to become? If not, adjust. If yes, double down. This isn't about chasing anymore. It's about becoming. It's about stepping into the version of you that attracts wealth effortlessly, because you've become the type of person who commands it. That's the work. That's the mastery. You've just taken the first step. You've stopped chasing and started mastering. You've begun to see that money isn't the goal, it's the mirror. And that mirror reflects your energy, your discipline, your alignment. Repeat it with me. Money flows where mastery grows. Let that become your mantra. Let that guide your actions from this day forward. Because the moment you control your energy, you've already changed your financial destiny. You've stopped running. You've started commanding. And that is where true freedom begins. Transition to next chapter. You've begun mastering your energy, the invisible source of all wealth. Now it's time to confront the next truth. Your beliefs shape your financial reality. Let's move forward. Chapter 2. Your beliefs are your balance sheet. You think your problem is numbers. It's not. It's never been numbers. Your problem is belief. Because every financial limit you face is not a lack of income. It's a lack of inner permission. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. You don't earn what you want. You earn what you believe. Let that sink in. You don't earn what you wish for. You don't earn what you work for. You earn exactly what your mind believes you deserve. That's not spiritual fluff. That's financial psychology. That's energy turned into math. Think back to where your money story began. It wasn't in a classroom. It wasn't in a business meeting. It began in your childhood. The dinner table, the arguments, the silence around bills. You learned your money limits before you ever touched a dollar. If your parents argued about money, you learned that money causes conflict. If they were always stressed, you learned that money equals survival, not freedom. If they spent everything, you learned to live for the moment. If they hoarded everything, you learned to fear loss more than you desire growth. Those lessons became beliefs. Those beliefs became ceilings. And those ceilings became your life. You've been living under someone else's financial belief, and you didn't even know it. Every belief carries a financial signature. I can't afford that. People like me don't make that kind of money. I just need enough to get by. Every one of those phrases is a self-imposed tax on your potential. And here's the harsh truth. Until you break those beliefs, no amount of work will fix your finances. You can change your job. You can start a business. You can buy courses, read books, hustle harder. But if deep down you still believe you're not worthy of abundance, you'll sabotage every breakthrough before it lasts. Because your subconscious always returns to what feels familiar, not what feels possible. That's the key. You've probably seen people win big and lose it all. Lottery winners, athletes, entrepreneurs who rise and crash. Why? Because their outer world grew faster than their inner belief system. Their balance sheet expanded, but their mindset didn't. Their numbers changed, but their beliefs didn't. So the system corrected itself. Your external world can never exceed your internal belief system for long. That's the law. That's the correction of energy. You don't need to chase more. You need to believe bigger. Because until you believe bigger, your actions will always be small, scared, and safe. Let's talk about fear. Fear is the currency of scarcity. It whispers, be careful. It says, don't risk it. It tells you you're not ready yet. But here's the truth. You will never feel ready. You will only feel certain when your beliefs match your vision. You have a choice. You can keep believing the same story, or you can rewrite it. You don't need anyone's permission to believe differently. You don't need the world to confirm your worth before you decide it. You decide first, and the world follows later. Here's a practical truth. Your beliefs control your behavior. Your behavior controls your results. Your results confirm your beliefs. That's the cycle, and the only way to break it is to interrupt it at the level of belief. If you believe money is evil, you'll unconsciously repel it. If you believe rich people are greedy, you'll never allow yourself to become one. If you believe wealth requires suffering, you'll make sure your path is painful. But if you believe money is neutral, that it simply amplifies who you already are, you'll start to treat it differently. You'll start to attract it differently because you've shifted your internal narrative. You have to reprogram your financial identity. That's the real work of mastery. Not managing money and managing meaning. Start by catching your thoughts in real time. When you say, "I can't afford it," replace it with, "How can I afford it?" That single shift moves you from helpless to powerful, from closed to creative, from victim to visionary. When you hear yourself say, "I'm not good with money," stop. Say, "I'm learning to master money." Every time you reframe, you're building new neural pathways. Every time you replace fear with curiosity, you're rewriting your financial DNA. That's the process. That's the practice. You don't need to wait for confidence. Confidence grows after belief, not before it. You must believe before you see. That's how every wealth transformation begins, and yes, people will question you. They'll call you unrealistic. They'll say, "Be practical." Ignore them because practicality is the language of limitation, and you're not here to play small. You're here to master your financial destiny. You have a choice. Stay limited by their fears or rise with your new beliefs. That's the decision that separates those who dream from those who build. Let's make this actionable. Write down every belief you have about money, every single one. Then challenge each one like a lawyer cross-examining a witness. Ask, "Is this absolutely true?" Ask, "Where did I learn this?" Ask, "Does this belief serve my future or my fear?" Then rewrite it. Replace "money is hard to make" with "value is easy to create." Replace, "I always struggle" with "I always find a way." Replace, "I'm not ready" with "I'm responsible." That's how you change the programming. That's how you raise your financial ceiling, because your income can never rise above your identity. Change the identity, change the income. Now repeat this truth again and again. You don't earn what you want, you earn what you believe. Say it until it becomes your new standard. Say it until it drowns out every old limitation that ever held you back. Because the moment your beliefs expand, your balance sheet will follow. Automatically, effortlessly, inevitably. You won't have to chase money anymore because your new identity will attract it. Your new beliefs will build it, and your new mindset will sustain it. You are not your past conditioning. You are not your family's financial story. You are the architect of your own abundance. You have the power to decide what wealth means for you and to live it. This is what the mindset of financial mastery is all about. Changing your internal code before you change your external results, because belief is the root of mastery. You have a choice today. Keep living by the limits of the old story, or start writing a new one, a story built on truth, confidence, and command. That's the work. That's the key. Transition to next chapter. You've rewritten your beliefs. You've upgraded your internal balance sheet. Now it's time to master the invisible discipline that builds wealth quietly and powerfully. Let's move forward. Chapter 3. The Discipline of the Invisible. Before we begin, take a moment. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Because growth multiplies when knowledge spreads. Let's make this message reach more people together. You want mastery. You want peace. You want wealth. But here's the truth most people will never tell you. Mastery isn't public. It's built in silence. It's formed when no one's watching. It's shaped by decisions so small, so quiet that the world won't notice. Until it's too late, everyone wants the results. Few want the routine. Everyone wants the spotlight. Few want the shadows. But the shadows are where your discipline is tested. That's where you either win or lose, long before the world ever sees you. Let me make this clear. The discipline of the invisible is what separates dreamers from masters. It's what separates motivated from committed. Motivation talks, discipline acts. And real mastery? It doesn't need applause. Every great person you admire, the athlete, the investor, the builder, the creator, they all share one secret. They built consistency long before they built recognition. You see their results, but you didn't see the 1,000 quiet hours behind it. The early mornings, the uncelebrated nights, the endless repetition that made the extraordinary look effortless. That's the key. The world rewards what you repeat, not what you announce. Most people are addicted to being seen. They confuse visibility with value. They think that being loud means being successful. But the truth is, what you repeat in private becomes what the world rewards in public. You don't need their permission. You don't need their likes. You don't need their validation. You need your discipline. When you show up every day, when no one claps, when no one notices, when no one says good job, that's when you're building something real. That's when you're separating yourself from the crowd. Let's talk about your habits, your invisible systems, because that's where mastery is born. Do you track your spending, son, or do you just hope it's fine? Do you plan your days, or do you drift through them? Do you keep your promises to yourself, or only the ones that make you look good? Be honest, because this is where transformation begins. The discipline of the invisible means this: you're not performing for the world. You're training for your future. It's not about the perfect plan. It's about consistent execution. Day after day, decision after decision, brick after brick. And I'll tell you something most people don't want to hear. Consistency is boring. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting. It's repetitive, but that's why it works. That's why it's powerful. Because while others chase dopamine, you're building discipline. While others look for shortcuts, you're building structure. While others announce goals, you're living goals. That's the difference between noise and momentum. Noise fades. Momentum compounds. Remember this line: the world rewards what you repeat, not what you announce. So let's make it practical. Let's make it real. If you want to master your finances, track every dollar. Not for a week, not for a month, forever. If you want to master your mind, control your input. Limit the noise. Feed your focus. If you want to master your emotions, sit with your discomfort. Don't post it. Don't run from it. Learn from it. If you want to master your time, protect your mornings. They decide your direction. None of this is public. None of this gets applause, but it's what builds unshakable confidence. Because when you live with invisible discipline, you stop needing external validation. That's freedom. You have a choice. Every day, you can choose to be seen or you can choose to be solid. You can chase the image or you can build the foundation. You can talk or you can transform. The discipline of the invisible is about the moments when no one's watching, and you still do the right thing. When you choose focus over distraction. When you choose work over comfort. When you choose growth over approval. That's where the compound effect begins. That's where you start to rise quietly, and until one day you're undeniable. The world won't understand how you did it. They'll call it talent. They'll call it luck. But you'll know. You'll know it was discipline. Invisible, consistent, relentless discipline. And here's something you must remember. Your results will always lag behind your habits. Your visible success is just a reflection of your invisible structure. That's why you can't afford to skip the small things. Because every missed morning adds up. Every "I'll do it later" compounds. Every excuse becomes a pattern. But so does every act of discipline. Every small decision done right. Every commitment kept in silence. That's how you become unstoppable. So from today forward, build in the dark. Work when no one watches. Invest when no one claps. Study when no one notices. Discipline yourself when no one expects it. Because when your time comes, and it will, you'll be ready. You won't need luck. You'll have proof. That's the difference between chasing success and becoming success. You have a choice. Every single day, remember this forever. The world rewards what you repeat, not what you announce. You've learned to value silence. You've learned to trust consistency. You've learned to build invisible strength. That's how mastery begins. Now, when it's time to shift from invisible work to invisible wealth, because what you believe about value shapes everything that follows. Next, Chapter 4, The Energy of Value. Before we close, if this message helped you see differently, then help someone else see too. Subscribe to the channel, share this audiobook, and let's keep growing together. Because wisdom only multiplies when it's shared. Chapter 4. Time is your true currency. Before we begin, take a second. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, because growth spreads faster when wisdom multiplies. Let's make this message reach more people together. Let's get one thing straight. Time is your real currency. Not money, not followers, not status. Time, because once you spend it, it's gone. No refunds, no rewinds, no replacements. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose opportunity and rebuild it. But when you waste time, you lose the only currency that can't be earned back. That's the truth most people ignore. They talk about wanting freedom, but they live like time is infinite. They trade their hours for comfort. They trade their minutes for distraction. And then they wonder why their life feels bankrupt. Let me say this clearly. The poor trade time for money. The rich trade money for time. That's the key. Because wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much time you control. You see, poor thinking says, I can't afford help. Rich thinking says, I can't afford not to free my time. Poor thinking says, I'll do it all myself. Rich thinking says, if someone can do it 80% as well as me, I'll delegate it. Why? Because time compounds. Every minute you reclaim is an asset that appreciates. Every minute you waste is a liability that grows interest. You have a choice. You can protect your time or you can sell it cheap. Most people do the latter. They sell it for likes, for gossip, for comfort, for convenience. They hand it away one scroll, one distraction, one useless conversation at a time. They act like time is abundant. It's not. It's disappearing, quietly, relentlessly, while you convince yourself you'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow is just another withdrawal from your life's account. And one day the balance hits zero. Let me give it to you straight. Every distraction is a withdrawal from your financial future. That's not a metaphor, it's math. Every wasted hour could have been an investment in skill, in discipline, in mastery. Every moment of distraction costs you compound growth. You scroll. You lose focus. You delay. You pay. You think it's just a few minutes, but those minutes turn into habits. And habits turn into outcomes. Protect your time like your fortune depends on it, because it does. Here's the paradox of mastery. The people who seem to have the most time are the ones who protect it the fiercest. They guard it like a vault. They schedule it like a surgeon. They defend it like a fortress. Why? Because they understand the value. They know every yes is a no to something else. They know energy is finite. They know attention is capital. And the poor, they do the opposite. They let anyone, anything, and everything steal their minutes. They let distractions rent space in their mind for free. They treat time like it's disposable. It's not. It's sacred. So, let's make this practical. Let's turn this lesson into strategy. Here are 3 laws of time discipline. Law number 1. Audit your hours. Track where your time goes, and brutally honestly, you can't fix what you don't measure. Every 15 minutes wasted is a crack in your financial foundation. Law number 2. Eliminate low-value tasks. Stop doing $10 work if you want a $10,000 life. If it doesn't move you forward, it's a liability. Cut it, delegate it, or automate it. Law number 3, buy back your time. Hire help, outsource the repetitive. Invest in tools that save you hours. Remember, the rich buy freedom, the poor buy distraction. You have a choice. You say you want success, but your calendar doesn't agree. You say you want peace, but your schedule's chaos. You say you value your time, but you give it away to people who drain it. It's not about wanting more hours. It's about managing the ones you have. Because if you can't control 24 hours, what makes you think you can handle 24 million? That's the truth. That's the discipline most refuse to face. Let me remind you, your time is your energy. Your energy is your life. And your life is your greatest investment. You are either compounding it or depleting it. Every yes you give, every click you make, every minute you waste, they all have a cost. And one day, you'll feel that cost in your bank account, in your body, and in your peace. That's why mastery isn't about hustle. It's about allocation. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's not about working harder. It's about working intentionally. Protect your time like your fortune depends on it. Because it does. You don't need their permission to slow down. You don't need approval to protect your boundaries. You don't need validation to say no. You need courage. You need clarity. You need conviction. And here's the real shift. When you start treating your time like wealth, wealth starts treating you differently. People will respect your schedule. Opportunities will align with your focus. Results will compound because distractions won't dilute them anymore. You'll stop chasing and start choosing. You'll stop reacting and start building. You'll stop surviving and start mastering. That's the turning point. That's the mindset of financial mastery. You have a choice: to spend time or to invest it, to waste time or to multiply it, to drift or to direct, and every single day that choice defines your destiny. So remember this: it's not about working for money. It's about building a life that earns back your time. Because when you control your time, you control your life. You control your peace. You control your wealth. That's the key. That's the law. That's the truth. Protect your time like your fortune depends on it. Because it does. You've learned how to guard your most valuable asset. You've learned that time, not money, is your real currency. You've learned that mastery begins with control, not chaos. Now it's time to step into a deeper truth. It's not just how you use time that matters, but how you value it. Up next, Chapter 5, The Energy of Exchange. Before you go, if this message gave you clarity, share it. And don't forget, subscribe to this channel so we can keep spreading wisdom that builds wealth, discipline, and peace. Because mastery grows when we grow together. Chapter 5, Emotional Spending. The tax on your future. Before we begin, take a second. If you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel. Because the wisdom you apply today can change not just your life, but someone else's too. Let's grow together. You think you're spending money, but most of the time you're spending emotion. You buy to feel safe. You buy to feel seen. You buy to feel enough. And that right there is the silent tax on your future. Because emotional spending isn't about money. It's about pain. You're not buying the product. You're buying relief. You're buying distraction. You're buying escape. And every time you do, you're robbing your future to comfort your present. That's the truth no one wants to hear, but it's time you did. You call it treating yourself. You call it rewarding your hard work. But what you're really doing is running from discomfort. You don't want to sit in your restlessness. You don't want to face your loneliness. You don't want to admit that you're bored, anxious, or empty. So you open your wallet. You open your cart. You open another door that leads nowhere, and then you wonder, why does the relief fade so fast? Why does it never feel like enough? Because it isn't. It's never been about the stuff. It's always been about the story behind the stuff. Here's the hard truth. Spending to feel better is self-sabotage disguised as reward. You're medicating with money. You're numbing with consumption. You're trying to fix an internal problem with an external purchase. That's not self-care. That's self-escape. You have a choice. You can confront your emotions or you can keep financing them. But one of those paths makes you broke, financially and spiritually. Every time you spend from emotion instead of intention, you pay double. Once in dollars and again in delay. Because every emotional purchase slows your progress. You're not just losing cash, you're losing clarity. You're feeding the very habit that keeps you stuck. Let's get real. Most people are financially stuck not because they don't make enough, but because they feel too much and manage too little. Money isn't math. It's emotion. It's story. It's control. That's why you can't budget your way out of insecurity. You have to heal it. You have to understand what you're really paying for when you hit buy. Because it's not about the coffee. It's about the comfort. It's not about the clothes. It's about the confidence you think you'll finally feel. It's not about the gadget. It's about the validation you keep chasing. You see, you don't need the product, you need the peace. And peace can't be purchased. It has to be built. That's why discipline is the ultimate therapy. Sit with the urge. Sit with the discomfort. Don't escape it. Examine it. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to fix right now? What emotion am I trying to buy my way out of? What's the cost of this comfort? Because make no mistake, comfort always has a cost. And that cost is your growth. You have a choice. You can feed your escape, or you can fund your future. But you can't do both. Let's talk about patterns. Every emotional spender has one. You get triggered. You crave control. You spend. You regret. Then you repeat. That's the loop. The emotional tax cycle. And here's the kicker. You think you're making a choice. But really, your emotions are making it for you. You're not in control, you're reacting. You're not deciding, you're defending. You're not building wealth. You're buying a bandage. And the longer you stay in that loop, the deeper the wound gets. Let me be blunt. Every swipe is either feeding your growth or your escape. Every single one. Every purchase is a declaration of who you're becoming. Every decision is a vote for your future or your fantasy. You can't serve both. You can't heal and hide at the same time. You can't claim mastery while you keep medicating. That's the hard part of financial maturity, realizing that most of your needs are just disguised emotions. You don't need new shoes. You need self-respect. You don't need a new gadget. You need growth. You don't need another night out. You need purpose, that's the key. So how do you break the pattern? You build emotional literacy. You learn to feel without fixing. You learn to pause without punishing. You learn to delay without denying. Here's a simple rule. If you can't sit in discomfort, you'll spend to escape it. And if you keep spending to escape, you'll never escape your spending. Start tracking not just what you buy, but why. Every purchase tells a story. Every transaction reveals a trigger. You'll begin to see it clearly. How often you spend out of impulse, out of insecurity, out of identity confusion. And once you see it, you can change it. Awareness breaks addiction. You don't need more money, you need more mastery. You don't need to earn more, and you need to leak less. Money doesn't disappear. It gets redirected, usually to where your emotions are undisciplined. That's why I'll say it again. Emotional spending is the tax on your future. Every time you buy to feel better, you're paying interest on pain you haven't faced. You have a choice. Face it now, or finance it forever. But you can't have freedom until you face the feelings behind your finances. Let this sink in. Real wealth is emotional stability. Because if your emotions own you, your money never will. That's why wealthy people are boring with money. They don't chase dopamine, they chase direction. They don't buy to escape, they buy to expand. They don't shop for identity, they invest for impact. That's the shift. That's emotional mastery. You don't need anyone's permission to stop consuming. You don't need validation to say no. You don't need to prove your worth through your wallet. You have a choice, to consume or to create, to buy peace or to build it, to feel temporary relief or to build permanent wealth. It's not about how much you spend, it's about why you spend. Because when you master your emotions, your money finally obeys you. And when your money obeys you, you're free. That's the key. That's the mindset of financial mastery. So pause before the next purchase. Breathe before the next click. Ask yourself, is this feeding my growth or my escape? Your answer will tell you everything about the life you're building. You've learned to control your emotions. Now it's time to control your exchanges. Because every emotion creates an energy, and that energy determines your outcomes. Up next. Chapter 6. The Power of Delayed Gratification. Before we begin, remember this. Subscribe to this channel. It helps this message reach more people who need it. Let's grow this movement together now. Let's get into it. The power of delayed gratification. 3 words that separate the wealthy from the wishful. 3 words that turn potential into power. And 3 words that most people will never master. Because here's the truth. The world trains you for instant gratification. Quick likes. Quick food. Quick dopamine. You've been programmed to chase now, not later. But the greats? The disciplined? The truly free? They think later while everyone else wastes now. Wealth isn't magic. It's patience. It's purpose stretched over time. Wealth is the art of patience applied to purpose. That's the key. You see, the poor want the feeling of success today. The wealthy build the structure of success for tomorrow. You have a choice. You can live for comfort, or you can live for control. But not both. When you delay gratification, you're not denying pleasure. You're defining it. You're saying, I'll wait. I'll build. I'll earn the right to enjoy this later. That's real power. Because the moment you can delay, you gain mastery over your impulses. And the moment you master your impulses, you master your future. Impulse is poverty's favorite tool. Patience is wealth's sharpest weapon. Every time you say not yet, you're investing in someday soon. Every time you say later, you're telling your future self, I've got your back. The longer you can wait, the bigger your freedom grows. Let's make it real. You see a new phone, you want it. You see a luxury car, you crave it. You see your friends posting their vacations. You feel left out. That's normal. But what's not normal is spending your future for the sake of fitting in today. You don't buy the phone, Annie, you buy the validation. You don't buy the vacation, you buy the escape. You don't buy the brand, and you buy the illusion of status. That's not freedom. That's financial slavery wearing designer clothes. The key isn't to reject pleasure. The key is to redefine it. Because the real high comes from control, not consumption. From saying, I don't need it right now, I'm building something bigger. You have a choice. Every temptation tests that choice. Every swipe, every click, every treat yourself moment is a crossroads. Do you feed your growth or your escape? Here's the paradox most never understand. The more you chase pleasure, the further happiness runs. The more you delay pleasure, the faster fulfillment comes. Because fulfillment isn't about having, it's about earning. And earning takes time. Your future self is watching you right now. They're either thanking you or cursing you. They're living in the results of the decisions you make today. Every coffee you skip, every impulse you master, every hour you invest, they all stack. That's how wealth is built. Not by magic, but by moments of discipline. Let's talk about the gap between desire and discipline. That's where your success lives. Desire screams, now. Discipline whispers, wait. And most people never hear that whisper because they're too busy listening to the noise of the world. The noise says, you deserve it. The noise says, you've worked hard. The noise says, why wait? But the truth says, you haven't earned it yet. And that word, yet, separates the broke from the free. It's not about punishment. It's about preparation. The wait is what makes it worth it. The waiting season's your success. Without delay, your achievements would feel empty, and they often do for those who rush. The most dangerous lie of modern life is that you can have it all right now. That's not success, and that's sedation. So how do you practice delayed gratification? Let's make it practical. Step 1. Set your why. If you don't know what you're waiting for, you won't last. Your goal must be clearer than your impulse. Write it, see it, feel it daily. Step 2. Reward the discipline, not the desire. When you save, celebrate. When you say no, acknowledge the strength it took. Because discipline deserves dopamine too, but it has to come from progress, not purchase. Step 3. Create delay triggers. When you want to buy something, wait 72 hours. No impulse survives 72 hours of silence. You'll either realize it wasn't worth it, or you'll confirm that it aligns with your bigger mission. And step 4. Remember this truth. The richest people don't have the most things. They have the most time. And the only way to buy more time is to stop selling it to short-term pleasures. Let's get deeper. Most people don't delay gratification because they've never built emotional endurance. They can't sit with discomfort. They can't stand the feeling of not yet, so they buy, scroll, or eat their way out of it. They outsource their discomfort instead of owning it. You must build the muscle of waiting, because waiting is training. Waiting teaches control. And control is freedom. It's not about deprivation, it's about direction. You're not giving up pleasure. You're choosing a better one. You're not rejecting comfort. You're investing in peace. Every successful person you admire has mastered this principle. They waited when others rushed. They built when others bought. They invested when others indulged. That's why they live differently now. Their patience paid the price for their peace. The longer you can wait, the bigger your freedom grows. Let that sink in. When you wait, your money compounds. When you wait, your skills compound. When you wait, your wisdom compounds. The delay doesn't deny you, it develops you. So here's your challenge. This week, pick one thing you crave, and don't buy it. Instead, save that money. Watch what happens inside you. Watch how your mind argues, how your ego reacts. That's the battlefield of wealth. That's where you build your edge. You don't need their permission to wait. You don't need validation to be patient. You just need the courage to stay the course, because every delayed pleasure is a declaration. I am not controlled by comfort. I control my choices. That's the foundation of wealth. That's the heartbeat of financial mastery. You have a choice. You can live for pleasure today, or peace tomorrow. But remember, every choice has a cost. The question is, which price are you willing to pay? If you wait, you build. If you rush, you bleed. So protect your patience like your fortune depends on it, because it does. You've now learned the power of waiting. You've discovered that the true reward isn't in the purchase, it's in the process. You've trained your focus, tested your resolve, and built your foundation. Now let's go deeper. You've mastered your impulses. It's time to master your mindset. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to build mental wealth, the kind that no economy can take away. Chapter 7. The Millionaire Mindset Shift. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe. It helps this message reach the people who need it most. Together we grow. Together we rise. Let's keep building. Chapter 7. Mastering Cash Flow. Command, don't chase before we begin. Subscribe to this channel so this message can reach more people who need it. Let's grow this movement together now. Let's talk about control. Real control. Cash flow. The lifeblood of your financial freedom. The measure of your discipline disguised as numbers. Most people think cash flow is about income. They think it's about making more. But here's the truth. Cash flow is not about how much you earn. It's about how well you command what you already have. You don't manage money. You command it. That's the difference between being broke and being in control. Cash flow mastery is emotional control made visible through numbers. Read that again. Your bank account is a mirror. It reflects your mindset. It exposes your habits. It tells the truth you can't speak. If your money leaks, your discipline leaks. If your money hides, your focus hides. If your money vanishes every month, it's not an income problem. It's an attention problem. You have a choice. You can keep chasing money like a slave, or you can command it like a general. The poor chase money. The wealthy command it. The poor react to bills. The wealthy direct their cash. That's the key. Money must move, but it must move under your orders. If you don't tell it where to go, it disappears. If you don't assign it a mission, it will find one on its own, usually in someone else's pocket. So rule number 1, know where every dollar goes. Track it, name it, control it. Because when you know where every dollar goes, it starts working for you. And when it works for you, you stop working for it. Let's talk truth. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a clarity problem. They don't track. They don't budget. They don't review. They hope, but hope is not a cash flow strategy. Discipline is. Awareness is. Command is. Every dollar you ignore becomes a soldier without orders, and an undirected army always loses. So here's the mindset shift. You are the commander of your finances. Every paycheck, every payment, every investment, you give it a mission. You decide its role. You give it purpose. That's financial leadership. Cash flow mastery begins when you stop thinking emotionally and start thinking strategically. Every purchase is a vote. You're voting for your future or for your distractions. You're either feeding your growth or feeding your escape. Money has no loyalty. It obeys whoever commands it best. And that's why the rich seem to have money chasing them. Not because they're lucky, but because they lead. They tell their money what to do. They assign it to build assets, not appearances. They direct it to multiply, not disappear. Don't manage money, command it. Say it again. Don't manage money, command it. Let's get practical. Here's what commanding your cash flow looks like in real life. Step 1. Create a cash map. You must know exactly what flows in and what flows out. List every source of income. Track every recurring expense. Every dollar needs a direction. Nothing floats. This isn't about punishment. It's about power. Because you can't command what you don't see. Step 2. Assign your soldiers. Every dollar is a soldier. Some belong in defense, your savings, your emergency fund. Some belong in offense, investments, business, growth. And some belong in logistics, daily operations, lifestyle, living. When your army of dollars has clear roles, they win for you, day after day, month after month. Step 3. Automate obedience. The best commanders remove emotion from the equation. Automate your savings. Automate your investments. Automate your bill payments. Why? Because automation beats temptation. When you make it automatic, you take your feelings out of your finances. That's emotional control made visible through numbers. That's mastery. Now let's expose the trap, the chasing cycle. You know it. You've felt it. You earn. You spend. You stress. You repeat. You chase income but lose discipline. You chase promotions but lose peace. You chase numbers but lose meaning. That's not wealth. That's slavery disguised as success. You don't need more income until you prove you can command what you already have. Because without command, more money only multiplies your chaos. You can't out-earn poor habits. You can't outwork emotional spending. You can't out-hustle ignorance. Command must come first. The moment you begin commanding your cash flow, something shifts. You stop asking, "Where did my money go?" and start saying, "I told my money where to go." You stop fearing bills and you schedule them. You stop hoping for savings, you build them. You stop reacting, you start leading. That's how wealth starts, in leadership, not luck. Remember this, every financial problem is a leadership problem. And leadership begins with ownership. You don't need their permission to take control. You don't need a raise to start commanding. You just need the courage to look at the numbers, honestly, because numbers don't lie. They tell your story better than your words ever could. And that story, your financial story, is written one command at a time. Let's talk emotion. Because behind every money decision there's an emotion, fear, guilt, envy, or pride. If you don't master your emotions will master your cash flow. That's why we say, cash flow mastery is emotional control made visible through numbers. Every financial win you create begins in your mind, not your paycheck. Every dollar you save represents self-control. Every investment represents vision. Every plan represents peace. You have a choice, to be ruled by your feelings or to rule them. That's the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and living with purpose. Now listen, when you truly command your cash flow, life changes. Your anxiety fades. Your options expand. Your time returns. You no longer wake up stressed about money. You wake up strategizing with it. You become intentional, focused, free. That's not fantasy. That's the reward of command. Because once you learn to lead your money, you realize something deeper. You were never meant to chase wealth. You were meant to build it, quietly, intentionally, consistently. That's the mindset of mastery. That's the discipline that sets you free. So here's your challenge this week: track every dollar. Don't judge it, just observe it. See where your energy is leaking. See what you're really serving. Then give every dollar a purpose. Decide who it works for, you or someone else. Because until you command your cash, someone else is commanding you. Don't manage money. Command it. You've just learned the essence of control: financial, emotional, and strategic. But control is only the beginning. The next step is leverage. Once your cash flow is under command, you can make it multiply. So in the next chapter, we'll talk about how to turn command into growth. How to make money not just flow, but expand. Chapter 8. Leverage. Making money work for you. Before we close, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It helps this message reach others who need it. Let's build a generation that commands wealth, not chases it. Together we rise. Together we build. Chapter 8. Build systems, not stress. Before we begin, subscribe to this channel so this message can reach more people who need it. Let's grow this movement of mastery together. Now let's talk about systems. Let's talk about why the wealthy live with structure and why the average drown in stress. Wealthy people automate discipline. Poor people improvise chaos. That's the truth no one wants to hear. Because most people think freedom means doing whatever you want. It doesn't. Freedom comes from structure. Real freedom comes from systems, and that's the paradox. The more structure you build, the more peace you experience. The more you rely on emotion, the more chaos you invite. Structure is the secret language of financial peace. That's not poetry. That's physics. Your life either runs by design or by default. If you don't have a system, you are the system. And that means you're working overtime, reacting, repeating, and rebuilding what should have been automated. You have a choice. Build systems that work for you, or keep working for your disorganization. That's the key. Let's break this down. Every decision costs energy. Every time you decide how much to spend, where to invest, when to save, you drain mental bandwidth. You burn fuel that should have been preserved for growth. The wealthy protect that bandwidth. They automate their habits. They build rituals that run without thought. Their discipline happens automatically. That's why they stay calm while everyone else stays anxious. Because they don't chase control, they design it. Here's the harsh truth. Most people don't lack intelligence. They lack systems. They know what to do. They just don't build frameworks that make it inevitable. They rely on willpower. They wait for motivation. They hope for consistency. But willpower fades. Motivation dies. Only systems remain. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's about creating processes that make consistency possible. If you wake up every day trying to figure out your next move, you've already lost half the battle. The rich don't wake up to confusion. They wake up to clarity because their system already decided for them. Think about this. Your calendar is your cash flow. Your habits are your income streams. Your routines are your ROI. If your time has no structure, your money never will, because chaos in behavior creates chaos in results. Structure isn't restriction. Structure is protection. Protection for your focus, your peace, and your progress. That's the real definition of freedom, having systems so strong that your success becomes predictable. Let's talk money systems. The poor handle money emotionally. The wealthy handle money systematically. They automate savings. They automate investments. They automate payments. Every transaction has a trigger. Every dollar has a mission. Every account has a purpose. That's not micromanagement. That's mastery. That's financial architecture. When you automate discipline, you eliminate doubt. When you eliminate doubt, you build peace. And that's the real goal. Peace, not just profit. Let's be clear. Building systems doesn't mean you become a robot. It means you stop wasting time making the same emotional decisions. You stop arguing with yourself about the same spending habits. You stop trying to feel ready every Monday. You stop living reactively. A system is just a promise you make to your future self, and a tool that helps you keep it. You don't need more motivation. You need mechanisms, because when emotion rises, systems hold. When you're tired, your system acts. When you're busy, your system remembers. That's the safety net of the disciplined. That's the backbone of mastery. You have a choice. You can live in reaction, or you can live by design. You can repeat the cycle of chaos, or build a structure that frees you from it forever. That's the difference between anxiety and assurance, between burnout and balance, between wishing and winning. Because here's the truth. Stress isn't caused by doing too much. It's caused by doing too much without a system. Let's make this practical. Step 1. Systemize your money. Automate your savings. Set up automatic investments. Create fixed payment days. You don't need to remember. Your system will. Step 2. Systemize your time. Batch your tasks. Create morning routines. Schedule focus blocks for creation, not consumption. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. Step 3. Systemize your decisions. Make rules that protect you from yourself. No spending after 9 p.m. No investments without research. No business partnership without contracts. Rules aren't restrictions. They're boundaries that guard your energy. Every time you remove friction, you gain freedom. Every time you simplify, you multiply your results. Every time you automate discipline, you expand peace. That's why the wealthy seem so calm. Not because life is easier for them, but because their systems absorb the stress. Systems create space. Space to think, space to rest, space to grow. And growth can't happen in chaos. You don't need 100 hacks. You need a handful of unbreakable systems. Because success is not sexy. It's systematic. It's repetition and structure. It's boring habits that lead to brilliant results. The average person wants excitement. The master wants efficiency. That's the difference. That's the discipline. And that's why structure is the secret language of financial peace. Let's talk deeper. Why do most people resist systems? Because systems expose truth. They reveal where your time really goes. They reveal what you actually value. They reveal whether you live with intention or excuse. People fear that because chaos gives them cover. It lets them hide behind "I'm too busy" instead of saying, "I'm not focused." But once you build a system, you run out of excuses. You're forced to face your patterns and then change them. That's where transformation begins. Remember this. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. You can dream all you want, but without structure, those dreams collapse under stress. Systems don't just create wealth. They protect it. They maintain it. They multiply it. That's the foundation of quiet wealth, not noise, not hustle, not luck. Just systems that silently work while you sleep. You have a choice. Build systems or build stress. That's it. When you master systems, you master peace. And when you master peace, wealth follows naturally because money flows to order. Opportunities flow to organization, and confidence flows to clarity. That's the real formula for success, and not more hours, not more hustle, but more structure. Structure is freedom. Structure is focus. Structure is wealth. You've just learned how to remove chaos and build peace through systems. But systems alone are not enough. They must connect to something bigger. So now that your discipline is automated, your next task is expansion. How do you take what's working and multiply it? Through leverage. Because control is power, but leverage is acceleration. So in the next chapter, we're diving into that next level. Chapter 9. Your environment shapes your earning energy. Approx. 1,000 words. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to this channel so we can grow, impact, and bring more value to others who need this message. Look around you. Every voice, every opinion, every routine, they're all programming you. Either for mediocrity or mastery, you don't rise above your environment. You reflect it. That's the truth most people ignore because it's uncomfortable. You can't out-earn your surroundings. You can't outgrow a circle that doesn't want growth. You can't stay in a low-frequency environment and expect high-level results. Your environment is the invisible hand shaping your financial destiny. It defines your energy. It determines your standards. And most importantly, it decides what you normalize. Let's make this brutally clear. If your friends are casual with money, you'll become casual with money. If your circle spends to impress, you'll spend to belong. If your environment rewards distraction, you'll call discipline too much. That's not bad luck. That's programming. You are downloading the habits, the beliefs, and the energy of everyone around you, every single day. And here's the painful part. It's not what they tell you that changes you. It's what they normalize. You don't rise to your goals. You sink to your environment. That's the key. Think about this. When you're surrounded by people who expect excellence, you rise. When you're around those who tolerate excuses, you shrink. The average of your 5 closest people is not a motivational quote. It's a financial law. You mirror the energy you're exposed to. So if your environment celebrates instant gratification, gossip, and easy money, guess what you'll chase? Shortcuts, tricks, validation. But if your circle discusses cash flow, systems, investments, and discipline, you'll start thinking differently. You'll start acting differently, because energy is viral. Habits are contagious, and wealth is built by infection, the right infection. Let's call this what it is, your earning energy. Earning energy isn't just your motivation or your ambition. It's your vibrational baseline. It's the emotional tone you carry into every decision. It's whether you operate from scarcity or abundance, from chaos or clarity. And that baseline is shaped by your surroundings. You can't have millionaire focus while drowning in mediocre noise. You can't create peace in an environment that profits from your anxiety. Your energy to earn, your clarity, creativity, and consistency all come from what you expose yourself to. So here's the tough question. What are you normalizing? Are you normalizing debt jokes and broke but happy culture? Or are you normalizing accountability, financial literacy, and long-term vision? You have to choose. You have to build an environment that feeds your purpose instead of draining it. That means cleaning your digital diet. Stop scrolling through lifestyles you can't afford. That means upgrading your conversations. Stop talking about people and start talking about possibilities. And that means protecting your space. Stop letting anyone project their fears into your future. You don't need their permission to evolve. You don't owe anyone your stagnation. You owe yourself progress. Most people stay broke because they refuse to leave the comfort of familiar failure. They want success, but they fear separation. They want growth, but not guilt. They don't understand that growth is lonely, but it's the kind of loneliness that refines you. You can't rise while staying accessible to everyone. You can't chase clarity in an environment built on confusion, so you must make a choice. Stay liked or stay focused. Be accepted or be exceptional. That's the key. Here's what happens when you upgrade your environment. You start to feel discomfort, not because you're failing, but because you're expanding. Your old habits start to look small. Your old excuses start to sound weak. And your new standards begin to intimidate people who once cheered for you. That's normal. That's the tax of transformation. You can't become extraordinary and stay surrounded by ordinary thinking. You can't stay in a room built for comfort while trying to build a life designed for freedom. Your environment is either your engine or your anchor. It's either pulling you forward or dragging you down. So you must become intentional about your space. Not just who's in it, but what's in it. Set up your physical environment to support your goals. Make your desk a place of clarity, not clutter. Keep financial dashboards visible. Track your goals daily and digitally on Curate Your Feed. If it doesn't educate, empower, or elevate, delete it. Mentally, guard your attention like it's currency. Because it is. Every conversation, every video, every piece of content you consume, it's shaping your financial psychology. Your brain becomes what it repeats. That's why you must deliberately program your inputs. Because garbage in, garbage out, even for millionaires. Here's the mindset shift. Stop asking how to earn more. Start asking, who do I need to become surrounded by to make earning more natural? Because when you upgrade your environment, money stops being forced. It starts being flowed. Discipline becomes automatic. Focus becomes easy. And wealth becomes inevitable. Because structure doesn't limit you, it liberates you. And the right environment doesn't cage you, it calibrates you. Remember this line. Your network isn't who you know. It's what you normalize. If you normalize accountability, growth, and vision, you'll live it. If you normalize complaining, victimhood, and impulsive spending, you'll stay trapped in it. Normalization is stronger than motivation. Environment beats willpower. That's the hidden truth of every financially free person you admire. They built their environment before their empire. So today, make one change. Unfollow one distraction. Step away from one draining relationship. Invest in one circle that challenges you to level up, because every upgrade compounds. Every decision to choose alignment over attachment multiplies your earning energy. You don't need to chase wealth. You just need to stay in rooms where wealth is the standard. That's the key. You've learned how your environment programs your potential. Now it's time to build the people, systems, and energy that keep your progress permanent. Because true freedom isn't about isolation. It's about elevation. You've learned how energy shapes income. Now let's talk about the foundation that makes that energy last. Chapter 10. Freedom is a practice, not a destination. Approx. So 50 words. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to this channel so we can grow, empower, and spread this message to others who need it most. Freedom. Everyone talks about it. Few actually live it. We chase it. We post about it. We dream about it. But the truth? Most people don't want freedom. They want comfort that looks like freedom. Real freedom isn't a weekend. It's not early retirement. It's not a number in your bank account. Freedom is a discipline. It's a daily practice. It's a mindset that says, I own my time, my energy, and my focus. I'm not the world. Freedom isn't a finish line. It's a form of self-respect lived out loud. That's the key. Let's start here. You've been conditioned to believe freedom is something you get once you've worked hard enough, saved enough, or achieved enough. But that's the illusion. Freedom isn't earned later. It's exercised now. You practice freedom every time you say no to distractions. You practice freedom every time you choose discipline over impulse. You practice freedom every time you control your environment instead of being controlled by it. You have a choice in every single day to react or to respond, to chase or to command, to consume or to create. Freedom begins in those choices, not in a destination but in direction. Here's what most people get wrong. They think freedom means doing whatever I want. That's not freedom. That's chaos. True freedom is not the absence of rules, it's the mastery of them. It's not about escape. It's about engagement. It's not about running from responsibility. It's about rising through it, because every master of freedom understands this truth. Discipline is the foundation of peace. You can't be free if you're a slave to your emotions. You can't be free if you're addicted to validation. You can't be free if every minor inconvenience breaks your focus. Freedom doesn't come from removing structure. It comes from building structure that serves your highest purpose. That's the discipline. That's the practice. Freedom is not what you reach. It's how you rise. It's how you respond when you're tired. It's how you think when no one's watching. It's how you act when no one's clapping. It's about mastering the quiet moments, the ones that no one will ever post about. Every day, you either practice freedom or you practice slavery. To fear. To ego, to comfort, that's the harsh truth. But that's also the liberating one. You don't need permission to live free. You don't need a specific income level, a certain job, or a perfect past. You just need awareness and consistency. Freedom is built in the small repetitions. The way you start your morning, the way you spend your money, the way you protect your peace. Freedom is found in the micro choices that shape your macro results. Wake up with intention. That's freedom. Spend consciously, that's freedom. Stay silent instead of reacting emotionally. That's freedom. You don't need to go somewhere to find yourself. You need to discipline yourself until you no longer lose yourself. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's not about escaping the grind. It's about aligning with purpose. When you master your money, your emotions, your environment, you realize something powerful. Freedom was never out there. It was always within you. It was just buried under habits of distraction, under people who drain your clarity, under noise disguised as opportunity. You don't have to become someone else to be free. You just have to stop being what the world trained you to be, reactive, restless, and easily controlled. Freedom is found in the stillness you fought to earn. It's found in the silence you once feared. That's where clarity speaks. That's where peace breathes. Here's the paradox. Freedom looks boring to the undisciplined. It looks quiet, simple, predictable. But that quiet, that stillness, is power. Because when you no longer need noise, you're in control. When you no longer chase validation, you're untouchable. When you can say no without guilt, you're unstoppable. You've stopped performing. You've started practicing. Freedom is not performance, it's direction. It's not about proving yourself. It's about guiding yourself. Every time you align with your purpose, you strengthen your freedom muscle. And like any muscle, it grows only through resistance. That's the key. Let's talk about the financial side of this. True financial freedom isn't passive income. It's active control. It's knowing that your cash flow, your systems, your spending, all serve a greater mission. You're no longer working for money. You've made money work for you, but even that isn't the final freedom. Because freedom without peace is just another form of prison. What's the point of millions if you still can't sleep? What's the point of options if you still don't have peace? Freedom must exist on the inside before it can ever last on the outside. That's why the wealthy aren't just financially rich. They're emotionally rich. They understand that freedom is a mindset, not a milestone. So here's your challenge. Start practicing freedom today, not tomorrow, not when things calm down. Now, wake up early, on purpose. Spend slowly and with intention. Disconnect and to reconnect. Move with awareness. Practice saying no to anything that steals your energy. Practice patience when everything pushes you to rush. Practice silence when the world demands reaction. That's freedom. And it's something no one can give or take from you, unless you let them. You have a choice. Every moment is a decision. Will you live free or will you live distracted? Freedom is not a destination you drive to. It's the direction you walk in every single day. And the more consistently you walk that path, the lighter your life becomes. Because you've stopped carrying the expectations of others. You've stopped chasing the validation of the world. You've started owning your truth. That's the real wealth. That's the real peace. That's the real power. You've reached the final chapter of this journey. You've learned how to master your cash flow, your energy, your mindset, and now your freedom. But remember, this is not the end. It's the beginning of a lifelong practice. Because freedom isn't what you reach. It's how you rise. Before we close, if this message has inspired you, subscribe to this channel, so together we can help more people awaken to true financial freedom. You've just listened to the mindset of financial mastery. But remember, understanding isn't mastery. Action is every thought, every purchase, every hour from this moment forward. It's a vote for your freedom or your frustration. Stop chasing comfort. Stop waiting for motivation. Build systems. Control your flow. Protect your peace. Because the truth is simple. Money doesn't make you free. Mastery does. You are the architect of your wealth, the commander of your energy, and the author of your freedom. So don't just finish this audiobook. Live it. Your mastery begins now.